Love is an essential human need. It's not just something we want, it's something we crave at the deepest levels of our being. It's essential to living a fulfilled and happy life. We all want and need to know that there are people in our lives that care about us, that support us, and that when things go down, somebody's going to be there. Somebody's going to have our back. It's essential to have that sense of belonging and that sense of purpose to be a well-rounded and complete individual. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about why it's so difficult to find the love that we're looking for. Now, yes, love is a fundamental human need. It's something that we all crave. But despite that fact, we make it very difficult to find. And if you're sincere about finding love, the first thing you have to do is recognize how we've been conditioned to believe what we're supposed to do, in most cases, is actually the things that push love away. We've all grown up in this culture where vulnerability and intimacy and openness is seen as a weakness. And most of us haven't had the luxury of growing up with really kind and loving parents. But even if you did, you've confronted meanness and aggressiveness with the other kids at school and other people in your life. So we've all been exposed to this world where we're taught to hide our feelings, hide our emotions, to put on a cool front, to act like we're cool, act like nobody can touch us, act like nothing can get to us. And we've all, to some degree, some more than others, but we've all taken this on and lived it out. And when it comes to dating, our fears of vulnerability are exacerbated. When you had your first heartbreak, you learned very quickly how bad love can hurt. And most of us just translate this need to be protective and act like everything's cool from all the other areas of our life. We just translate that into dating as well. And so dating, rather than being about genuinely getting to know people, genuinely exploring authentic relationships with people, for most people, it's about power plays. It's about games. It's about manipulation. And even those of us who sit around and say we don't want to play games, when we're honest, we've all done it too. It's such an automatic thing in the way we approach dating and in the way and in things we hear in our culture. It's like, don't text back for a few days. And, you got to make it look cool. You got to make it look like you're not too into them. And don't be upfront. Don't tell them what you want. You got to act like you don't want anything and act like everything's cool. And there's all these ideas that are just completely wrong. And all they do is disconnect us from each other. So you might be dating someone and you might genuinely like them and they might genuinely like you, but you won't tell each other about it. You won't talk to each other about it. You won't openly discuss the potential of a relationship because you're too busy acting like you're too cool for each other. Instead of genuinely trying to connect, what we do is we try to get the upper hand over people. We're so afraid of opening our hearts and having them ripped out that instead we act like we don't want love and we communicate that message. So somebody might be genuinely interested in us, but we don't let them know that we feel the same way. We don't let them know that feeling is reciprocated. And so then they pull back too. And now what you have are two people who could have a solid relationship if they were open about it, who could genuinely want to get to know each other, but they're too busy acting like they're cool for it. And this one dynamic here that I'm talking about, this need to have the upper hand in our relationships, this need to not feel like anybody can touch us, not feel like anybody can get to us. This is the barrier that prevents us from finding love. This one dynamic here that we've been taught in our culture of don't open your heart, don't let people see you cry, don't let people see you sweat, don't be vulnerable with anyone, don't let anyone know what's really going on, put on a cool front. This one idea that we see everywhere in our culture, everywhere in our world, it's all over the place, and it translates into our dating lives. And the modern dating game in most cases is just a reusing of the same idea of trying to act like we're cool, trying to act like we're tough, trying to act like nobody can get to us. And what that does is it isolates us. It separates us from each other. It prevents us from ever really getting to know each other on an authentic level. You see, what happens now is dating is not a safe environment for people, and people don't feel safe in dating, so they don't bring themselves to the table. They bring some act or some version of themselves or some idea of who they think you want them to be. So when you're getting to know people, you're not really even getting to know them. And I say all this to say that if you want to find love, and if you're serious about finding love, the first thing you have to do is be courageous enough to be your authentic self, to communicate what's honest for you, to let other people know your true level of interest in them. Whether that's I'm really interested in you or I'm not feeling this. You've got to be honest enough with people to let them know where they stand with you. And by doing that, other people are going to have enough courage to be honest with you. And when you can start to relate with people on this level, when two people can come together and say, look, I'm interested, I'd like to get to know you. And you can establish that in the beginning. Like, I'm looking for a relationship. You seem great. Would you like to explore that with me? And when you can start to have these open conversations early on in a relationship, what happens is there's a space and there's a freedom that opens up where people feel safe to be themselves. And then you can genuinely get to know each other. And in a very short amount of time, you'll be able to tell, is this somebody I really have feelings for? Is this somebody I'm really interested in or not? And you can let them know and either move on in the relationship or move on out of it. But the first thing you have to do is let go of this fear of being hurt, let go of this fear of being judged, let go of this fear of what they're going to think of you or how I'm going to look, or you've got to let go of that and be authentic and let them know what's honest for you. And if you make that one shift and you can just approach every relationship, every interaction from that perspective, you will transform your entire dating life and you will start to make authentic connections with really amazing people. And I'm hosting a workshop. It's available right now. You can go to the link in our bio to check it out or go to myconsciousrelationship.com. And in this workshop, we're exploring this idea a little bit further. We're looking at some of the dynamics around this and how it plays out. And we're looking at some of the key principles of conscious dating and how you can use them to get out of these toxic cycles and get into the love that you're looking for. So check that out at myconsciousrelationship.com. And thanks for watching.